I want to talk a little bit about self-care and being ADHD. And I want to talk about this because I feel like so much of my experience, at least, and I can only speak from my experience and some of the observations I've made with those who I know are neurodivergent, but I feel like so much of the time that we spend on a day-to-day basis, especially if we're still working on unmasking, is to keep masking enough just to get through the day without really accommodating what it is that we need to feel regulated within that day. And this is something that I really came to know and experience in the last number of years of my life. I was living with a partner with his mother and his niece in a home environment. It was the longest that I've pretty much lived anywhere ever, and I was in the home environment. And to throw a little bit of my own other interest into this, I'm a projector, and everyone else in the house was a generator or manifesting generator, so it was a lot of energy. And a lot of my time each day, especially after recognizing that I couldn't unmask there, especially around my partner's mother, was to try to accommodate keeping harmony and peace with everyone in the household by being what I needed to be for everyone else, which often meant I wasn't being what I needed to be for myself, which meant that I was putting on the mask first thing when I woke up. And I had to basically wear it all day until I went to bed. So the only time I was unmasked was when I was unconscious in my dream world. That's obviously very unhealthy and very dysregulating, very depressing. And I was starting to experience chronic fatigue and burnout, and I'm still in that. I've been mentioning this briefly in some of my previous videos because this is a new channel that I'm making. I had to stop using my old channel because there are people who will be watching it who I didn't want to see this and be a part of this journey for myself. Oh, pretty butterfly. And so I spent a lot of time in that environment. Sorry, I distracted myself with that. I spent a lot of time in that environment being on all the time. And when you're masking all the time, that takes a lot of energy. Thank you for reminding me, Spirit, that got me back on track. It took so much energy to put the mask on every day and be like, okay, this person doesn't like it when I mention this or talk about this. This person gets really annoyed whenever I ask questions. This person, I had created a whole new programming for myself. Basically deprogrammed me and reprogrammed how to be around these people. And mostly my partner's mother, because it's her household. So it made sense that most of my programming was based off of whose household that is and how they want to run their household. And to some extent, I obviously want to be respectful, and I'm expressing gratitude for being there, and I want to be of service. And I feel that most people who are neurodivergent desire in a lot of ways to help and to give to those who are around them, and to show the people around them, I see you and I respect what it is you want, and I'm giving that to you because we would like the same in return. Or you'd think it would be just common decency to do that. But I learned while I was there all the ways in which I could neglect my self-care. And the things that I thought I was doing for self-care were not self-care. It was basic human needs that any person should be giving themselves and should not be categorized under self-care. And I say that because I feel like a lot of the times, from the observations I've made around the neurodivergent realm, or those who are on that spectrum, a lot of times the self-care won't be the things that actually are caring for yourself. And I'm putting on the mask all day, I'll treat myself to a little drink, and that's caring for myself because I'm gonna give myself something nice to enjoy throughout this day because I want to not be here, be present, and I want to just dissociate. So this drink is gonna help me be a little happy. In some ways that is kind of caring for yourself, but the real self-care would be, I'm gonna take my mask off for an hour. And I won't feel the need to smile. I won't feel the need to laugh at something I don't find funny. I won't say I'm okay with something when I'm not. I'll set a boundary when I need to for an hour. That would be caring for myself. And I couldn't even do that. I could not even do that. I was so terrified of creating an argument or disharmony or having retaliation come up against me. And that's something that I've experienced not just in the last 4 years while I was living in that house, but almost my entire life. I very quickly learned if I tried to stand up for myself and speak up for myself and to set a boundary and to just like be and take off my mask and say, no, that doesn't work for me, I often met with not just like anger in the moment or conflict in the moment, but retaliation. And I've never once, when anyone has ever set a boundary with me or said something didn't work for them, have ever thought, I'm going to use this against you later. Later on, I'm going to find some way to like make your life difficult because you decided you wanted to stand up for yourself. I've literally never thought that. And so when I started recognizing, because obviously like those of us who are neurospicy, we're really good at pattern recognition. And so it didn't take many times for something to happen, obviously, to create a pattern, and then for me to recognize within that pattern, oh, every time that I have done this, and not even disrespectfully, and it'll feel disrespectful sometimes when you do it because you're like, wow, this is crazy. Like, I'm saying no, this is crazy. I'm saying what doesn't work for me. This is crazy. I'm telling them how this made me feel. That already sounds like crazy. I'm gonna wait. This already sounds like crazy for me to say. It already feels rude in myself to say it, but it's really not. And to the other person, it probably just looks like, hey, blah, 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 blah. Like, it doesn't even look like how it feels unless, of course, you're like, have a lot of pent-up emotion. And of course, then it's going to come out a little bit more, you know, with more energy and probably throat chakra stuff going on. But I learned very quickly that when I did that, people would use that against me and start doing things to retaliate against me or to make my life harder. And so I started to learn and to move in a certain way where I basically did everything I needed to. Like, I moved in silence. And I don't really listen to Lil Wayne at all, but that line he has of real G's move in silence like lasagna, I've kind of had to utilize that more than I would care to admit. A lot of times, and I'm not going to speak this onto anyone else's experience of this life, this is my experience. A lot of times, I have had to move in silence because if I decided that I wanted to share something out of joy, share something out of self-empowerment, share something out of truth about what it is I needed or wanted to do, a lot of times people would do stuff to try and throw that off or to like interfere with that plan or to stomp on my truth. And so I had learned like, oh, I have to go ahead and just move things around for myself and then inform people afterwards and be like, oh, by the way, on this day, I'm leaving. Oh, by the way, I went ahead and changed this because it doesn't work for me and I'm going to start doing this now, which I've already started doing for a while. You just haven't been informed of. That sounds like secretive. That sounds like there's a word I'm looking for that I can't think of right now. But basically, like, you're doing something behind someone's back, like you're being sneaky, and it's not. I'm being self-protective at this point because I've already seen a pattern and learned that that isn't safe to do. And I'm kind of getting off. Let me bring myself back to the center point about the self-care. Self-care with AuDHD isn't necessarily just going and getting yourself something nice or buying that little thing that makes you feel happy. A lot of times it's like difficult stuff that should be just a basic need as a human. And that looks like setting a boundary, saying no, removing yourself from unhealthy environments, taking the mask off, protecting yourself while you do it though, creating plans and not sharing them, moving in silence like lasagna, like allowing people to fall out of your life that don't respect you when you take off the mask and who don't see you and recognize you. It looks like sometimes having to live out of your car and be in your car and try and make money living out of your car because the environment that you are in doesn't see you or support you. And other people's perceptions of you is not your responsibility. I have had to learn this so many times. The way other people see you has nothing to do with you. please. I felt so brokenhearted and so sad to finally hear my mom go off on me and tell me all of these things that she thought about me and how I was living and what was happening in my life, that at first what I didn't recognize was like, oh, I actually really do care about how you see me, and I do care what you think I believe or what I am or what I do. But then at the end of it, when I had time to process and go cry in the park and watch the skateboarders skateboard around, which was actually really nice. I spent a lot of time watching skateboarders in my free time. While I was sitting there and processing that, I recognized that it was a gift, because everything is happening for us. It's not happening to us. And so I asked, why is this happening for me, that this horrible conversation happened with my mom? And it was to recognize, oh, you did really care so much about what your mom thought of you that you still were really masking around her. You still were not, like, the person who made you, the person who created you, the person who created an environment that did not really support you either, doesn't accept you and sees you in a way that isn't you. And I had to remind myself, and luckily my previous partner, I talked to him about it too, and he helped to remind me as well, like, that perception isn't my truth. You know your truth, you know your heart, you know your intentions, you know how hyper focused you are on accommodating other people and caring for other people and making them feel seen and heard, because that's what you desire as well. Like, you understand how much thought and time and energy goes into being accommodating for everyone around you. So do not ever allow anyone outside of you to tell you who you are and what it is you're doing. You know you. That's a huge way you can care for yourself, is to not allow anyone else to tell you what it is you're doing and why you're doing it. And I'm thinking about my aunt right now, because a lot of the people in my family feel that, like, she's very, not fake, but like, oh, every time we come around and hang out, then she wants to talk, and then she hangs out, but then she goes and she disappears, and she never answers my messages, and this and that, and like creating all of these narratives around who she is. She's autistic. And understanding this, like, obviously it's in some way it's annoying that, okay, then she's allowed to, like, not answer when you message her, or only want to come and interact for small amounts of time and then go be alone, is only allowed because we say she's autistic. Like, if someone wants to be that way, allow them to be that way. They're not doing anything to hurt you. Maybe she doesn't have the language around saying, hey, I'm getting really overstimulated and I need time alone, because no one's given her guidebook for how to be autistic in this world. That's just a little side note that I'm thinking of like the perception that can be created on someone who isn't doing anything at all to be that way to you. They're doing what they need to do to support themselves, probably in chronic fatigue and burnout, just to get through the day. So I'm saying all of this to say, self-care, yes, it can be getting the matcha. Yes, it can be going to the park and painting, and that is still also really a great form of self-care. Yes, it can be choosing to go and do things to regulate yourself, and please do those things. But at the core of it, to me, my experience, is so much more about, am I doing what I need to not feel like I don't want to be here? Am I doing what I need to be in an environment where I can unmask? Am I doing what I can do? Do I have people around me who support that? Do I have friends around me who can understand me? Do I have anything in my environment that can support who I actually am without a mask? Because if you have to like mask all day and then the treat yourself is your self-care, that still over time is going to eventually lose its dopamine. The groove is gonna be worn out from how many times it's been utilized as your main source of caring for you. So for me, this is what I'm doing now. And I'm only saying all of this because I haven't been able to do this, and I'm finally doing it. And it's not easy. I'm not saying it's easy, but it is so vital. And I'm still working through my chronic fatigue. I'm still working through my burnout. I'm still processing like the grief and sadness that comes with not being able to be who I am around my mom, and in some parts, just my family in general. Like, I already don't have a big family. It's just me, my mom, my grandma, my sister, and my aunt, and that's it. I don't communicate with my dad at all, and he's no interest in knowing me. And in some ways that used to really upset me, but now I recognize, like, I'm probably saving myself another person who's not going to see and understand me. I'm actually probably I'm being protected by spirit. I'm being protected by my guides by not having to try and incorporate something that's just going to make me more sad. So that's a way I'm caring for myself. I'm creating systems and ways to create a foundation and environment that really keeps me grounded and regulated enough so that I can start exploring other parts of what I need. And alone time, some people on the spectrum don't thrive off of that. You know you best. If you need more alone time, take it. If you want more time with people, find the ones that you can take your mask off around. Find the ones that can like jokingly encourage you to brush your teeth or to take that shower that you've been avoiding. Like, you'll have finding those people, and it may not be a lot of people. You only need one. Really, you just need one. And so that's what I'm working on doing now. And these are the ways that I've been trying to merge what real self-care looks like to me being ADHD and giving myself grace as I navigate that space. So thank you for listening to this. Please, 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 if you'd love to share ways that you support yourself and give your self-care on your ADHD experience, or ways that you want to start doing that so you can start kind of like navigating and speaking more into what it's going to look like for you, please share, or just do it with yourself. But I love to read comments in this realm, in this sphere, because I learn so much and receive so much from everyone else. So thank you so much for watching this. Thank you for your support on this journey. It's not easy, but it is definitely worth it and more liberating this way than to be wearing the mask all day. So thank you so much for listening. And as always, I'm sending you peace. I'm sending you love.